Adagio BankRec batches support 3 different types of transactions for updating your bank balances. Batches can be opened either from the Batches button on the toolbar or from the Edit menu and Current Batches. A list of open batches is displayed in a grid, and new batches can be created from the New button. All batches must be associated with a specific bank code, and all entries will be posted to this bank. Give the batch an interesting description, and specify whether all cash receipt entries will be grouped together as a single deposit, or will later be reconciled individually. For deposits, the reference can be generated by either sequence number or date from the bank setup, or a unique value can be entered here. A date for the deposit can also be selected here. The first transaction type is a customer receipt. The deposit ID will be displayed as the bank reference and cannot be edited for deposit batches. Otherwise, a unique reference can be entered here. The transaction date defaults from the deposit date, and if you change it to a later date, saving a receipt will update the deposit date. Receipts can be entered for one-time customers by leaving the customer code blank and typing in the customer name. For customers from Adagio Receivables, a customer can be selected from the Customer Code field or the Find Customer screen, where you can also search by name, phone number, or posted invoice number. A payment method can be selected from the list defined in Receivables, including payments by credit card. If the Adagio Payments add-on program is integrated, you can also use payment methods associated with online credit card processing, with authorization and direct submission of the amounts. Enter the check number, or have it auto-filled from the year, batch number, and entry number. Enter the receipt amount and description, and customer optional fields, if any are defined in Receivables for batches. Transaction details can be either for paying invoices or coding to ledger accounts. For blank or Receivables customers, add a new detail or double-click on a blank row to enter a miscellaneous detail type, either directly to a ledger account or from a predefined distribution code. Or a group of predefined distributions may be added at once from a distribution set. For Receivables customers, another new detail type you may add is a prepayment, either to the account or reserved for a specific future invoice number. And a list of outstanding invoices and other transactions available to be paid are displayed. Click the Edit button to fully or partially pay a selected invoice, or highlight the invoice and press the spacebar to fully pay it. Or use the Auto Pay button to apply the receipt amount against the oldest outstanding invoices by your choice of due date or invoice date. If you use Adagio Doc Store, you can view PDFs attached to the invoices, or attach a PDF of your choice by using the paperclip to browse or drag the file to this screen. For any receipt, you may choose to print or email or fax a form to the customer with the Print Receipt checkbox enabled. Receipt numbers are defaulted from the next number in the company profile, but can be changed. The Receipt Address button allows changes for the customer address or contact information. You can print either one or more selected within a batch and choose to print, or an entire batch of receipts from the Print button on the batch list screen. If you use Adagio Doc Store, a PDF copy of the form will be attached to the receipt for future viewing. The second transaction type is a vendor payment. As with receipts, it is possible to create a cash invoice payment to a one-time vendor by leaving the vendor code blank, or an Adagio Payables vendor by selecting or finding it. Have the check number auto-generated from the batch and entry number, or enter a specific value, which also updates the bank reference. Amounts are added, by clicking New and entering details for specific ledger accounts or predefined distribution codes, or distribution sets for a unique cash invoice number. For payables vendors, you can also choose to create a prepayment to the account or a specific future invoice. Payable batch optional fields may be entered if these are defined. And you may also choose to pay outstanding invoices from the list. Click the Edit button to fully or partially pay a selected invoice, or press the spacebar to fully pay it. PDFs attached to vendor invoices via DocStore may be viewed. The third transaction type is a bank transfer, to move money from one bank to another. Transfers need a unique reference value, which defaults from the year, batch, and entry numbers. Then choose whether this bank is the source or the recipient of the transfer, and the other bank involved. Enter the transfer amount as a positive value, and a description. The check number will default from the bank reference, or you can enter a different value. All entry types have an option to post as reconciled. If the transaction has already cleared the bank, you can mark it as reconciled here when it is posted, so you don't have to remember to do this later in bank reconciliation. If you use Adagio multi-currency, you can use different currencies for banks, customers, and vendors. When creating a batch for a bank that uses a different currency, there's an exchange rate for the deposit. This rate is displayed at the top of the receipt screen. When the receipt is for a customer and the payment method that uses the same currency, the respective exchange rates are for display only, and amounts are in that currency. If either the customer or payment method has a different currency, then the new rate is shown and editable, if appropriate, with amounts in the displayed currency. For payments, the exchange rate for the bank currency can be set at the top, and vendor currency will be displayed for reference, and can only be edited if the vendor uses a different currency. And similarly, for bank transfers, the exchange rate for the transfer is at the top, and the other bank currency is displayed below and only editable for other currency banks. Transfer amounts are calculated from the exchange rate. Batches can also be retrieved from Adagio receivables, Adagio payables, and PayDirt payroll. To ensure consistency in ledger balances and pay transactions, retrieved batches should not be edited. In fact, you will get an error if you try, unless the company profile option to allow editing of retrieved batches is enabled. Keep your bank balances up to date by regularly processing transaction batches. Find out more about Adagio from the product page on our website. Watch another training video on this Adagio program from the playlist, or subscribe to the Adagio YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.